Okay, so just give you a quick no, here, hit page down. Okay. Give you a quick commercial. Started Queenston about 8 or 9 years ago. We've worked with about 200 different businesses over that time, and we've valued and transitioned several $1 billion in investment assets and hundreds of millions in value. We specialize in basically buying, selling, and valuing businesses, but we have migrated just as much to what I call transition consulting, and that is if you want to change dealers, if you want to change your business model or the platform you're on, that type of thing. Queenston works with a lot of advisors in those areas. Okay, today I'm going to go fairly quickly. I don't imagine it's going to take more than 15 or 20 minutes, depending on questions. And also, as you probably know, we're available, if you want to book an appointment, if you want to exchange emails with me, just let us know. And I'll give you my, probably most of you have my email address, but we'll give it to you again at the end. Okay. Just a quick aside. I took this picture with an old phone of mine. It was at the Indianapolis 500, and I have no idea why it worked because I'm terrible at taking pictures. But certainly growth by acquisition is the fastest way to grow your business. It's also can be a way to ruin your business if it's not done properly, if you pay too much, if you bite off more than you can chew, those types of things. And so it's very important to have a strategy. Today I'm going to talk about how to prepare your business for an acquisition. We'll talk a little bit about the importance of having a target market and strategic and tactical planning to get into that target market for acquisitions. As you all know, it's a seller's market, and you're competing with a lot of people who are trying to do the same things as you. So you have to have a strategy on how you're going to beat the competition. And then we're going to talk about 3 different ways to skin the cat, or to be more specific, 3 different ways to grow by acquisition. Okay, preparing your business. This is so important, and very few people do it. We get many phone calls. I want to buy a business, but the buyer really doesn't understand their own businesses, haven't identified their own strengths and weaknesses. For instance, if you buy a business and you're very good at sales, let's say, or you're very good at gathering assets and it's an insurance book or vice versa, then knowing your strengths can help you decide how much you're going to pay. And maybe it's worthwhile for you to overpay. But if you're not strong on sales, but you're strong on service, then that's the type of business that you should be buying, and maybe you're not going to pay as much, or you're going to manage your resources better and be able to achieve some economies that way. The other thing is, do you have capacity? I mean, if you buy a business and there's 300 or 400 new clients going to come on board, then do you have the capacity? Do you need to hire an assistant and all of those things? I've just been asked a question. It's a good question, and it is, can you explain what's driving the market to be a seller's market? And it's actually a good question with a very simple answer. Sellers don't want to sell. Even the ones who are getting up there, don't want to sell. I get phone calls from 80-year-olds that want to buy a business. It's just the nature of the beast, that because of all the recurring revenue, and you can be semi-retired and still make a lot of money. So you're going to be particular on selling. The other thing that we can never lose sight of, especially you, if you're talking to potential candidates, is this is their baby. They've been doing this for 30, 40 years. It's like giving up one of your kids in some ways. So there's very few sellers, and that's why it's a seller's market. And buying is very, very good for business. And I always joke that sellers just have to yell out the window, "I'm selling," and a line will start at their door, because there is so many buyers. Okay, and here's some steps that I think that everybody should do before they get into the acquisition mode. And one is to develop a profile. It's no different than when you're talking to a potential client. You have a profile. You know what your value added is. You know what you're bringing to the table. You know how you can help that client, whether it's problem solving or, financial planning or whatever your strengths are. So it's very important to do the same thing if you want to adopt an acquisition strategy for your business. And standardize the message that you're sending out there. You don't want to talk to one person about, something you're willing to do that, but not offer the same thing to another person. I mean, it's a small industry. Everybody talks. You're much better off just being upfront and straightforward with everybody. And then you got to have a strategy. Just to want to buy businesses, want to acquire assets, etc., is not enough. You have to have a strategy. It's no different than when you started in the business. I'm sure you didn't sit there waiting for the phone to ring, because it doesn't ring. And it's the same thing if you're trying to acquire either a business or another form of acquisition. The other thing that really throws a wrench in the old cog is not having financing in place. And everybody says, "Oh, my dealer will finance." And you know what? No, they won't. Some dealers do for some, but they don't do for all. But most dealers don't want to get involved in financing. They may have a referral arrangement with a financial institution, those types of things. But even the Manu banks of the world are going to tell you that they'll finance your purchase. Doesn't matter if you're at Manu, et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of it's not real accurate. So I would try and have something in place before you start approaching people. The other thing is you should have some skin in the game. In other words, you should have some of your own cash available, either through a personal loan or something away from, a business loan, something like that, so that it shows you're committed. And the other thing is you have to know what you're going to offer and how you're going to structure that deal. And it doesn't really matter what it is, as much as is it going to open some eyes. I know people that have been very successful with no money down, but they'll pay 4.5, 5 times recurring revenue, and spread over time. So they're saying basically, we won't make any money for 5 years, but except new business, and the high multiple gets the people their attention, or vice versa, offer a lower multiple but have a good down payment, those types of things. one of the best strategies for developing a relationship with somebody that might be interested in selling down the road is a continuity partnership, whereby if they get hit by a bus, and it's a legal agreement, if they get hit by a bus, you're going to buy their business, and everything is predetermined, that type of thing. So it's a good foot in door to develop a working relationship with an advisor who maybe has a less than 10-year window. Okay. The other thing is your business should be prepared for growth. Do you have the right staff in place? Or the processes in place to be able to bring on a whole bunch of new clients? And also, again, know your value added. What are you bringing to the table? Why should I sell to you? Or why should I, work with you on an acquisition? Okay, number 2 is, who are you targeting? It's not enough, as I said before, just I want to buy a business. You should have a bit of a strategic plan. A strategic plan is a big picture plan. In other words, are you looking for just for assets? Are you looking for a certain geographic location? Those types of things. And a tactical is how are you going to do it? What are the step-by-steps in order to achieve that strategic plan? And you have to be prepared to either change dealers, because it is a seller's market and the sellers are setting all the rules, or maybe you have to change your business model in order to increase the value, or to have access to liquidity, i.e. to money, so you can buy other businesses. Okay, and this goes back to what I was saying about the question about why is it a seller's market. Right off the bat, 80% of financial advisors are buyers, and 99%, and I could have had a decimal on there, 99.9% of financial advisors are not selling. They're either sitting on their cash flow, or they want to, acquire more businesses, and age isn't always the determining factor. Right now we have sellers at 40, and we have sellers at mid to late 70s. So the most important thing to beat the competition, I can tell you right now, if you do 1 or 2 deals, sellers will start calling you, especially if they're clean and you're fair and honorable and all of those things. I work with a few buyers, and every 6 months they're buying a business, and they don't even make any outgoing calls. People are calling them because they know they're willing to buy, and they know they have the money in place to do it. Okay, 3 ways to skin a cat. And like I said, I get dozens of phone calls every week. I want to buy a business. But there's other ways to grow through acquisition. One is with associates. Yeah, be one if you're a younger guy and you find an older advisor who is willing to work with you. That's a good foot in the door, and it can be structured where it's win-win for both of you. Or if you're a larger business, even if you don't have a short term or even a less than 10-year time horizon, get an associate. Bring an associate on board, and I always say they should have some successes in the industry. It's tough for guys starting out now, and as you all know. So a good way for somebody with, say, less than 5 or 10, even 10 years, to have the opportunity to work with somebody is a huge plus. And what it can do is it can create economies of scale and synergies and those types of things, because it can free up the senior person's time, because they're not dealing with the CMD clients, things like that. The other huge opportunity is in mergers, We don't see that too much in Canada, but which surprises me. And then obviously finding sellers. So of these, I've got some little remembers here. Acquiring a business is not a panacea. It's not a end-all, be-all. It's not going to solve your problems if you have business problems. You have to be prepared. You have to be realistic. If you have $2 million under management, don't be approaching the guy with $100 million to buy his business, with $1 down and $1 a week. You have to be realistic, or nobody's going to take you serious. So you need to know what to look for as far as an acquisition. And there's several at later in the series, I'll be talking about value drivers and the things that you should be looking for to either improve on your business or acquire another business. And know your margins. This is so key. If you're going to get involved in acquisitions, how much money are you going to make? Don't just, people just always throw around multiples. 3 times, 3.5 times, 4 times. The multiple doesn't mean as much as how much you're going to make. And the way you make money is either you manage your business better, so you have some economies of scale, or you're moving in, you have some synergy. You're moving into markets where you're either not at right now or you want to get better at. And that can be, there's a whole bunch of reasons for that and things you should be considering. And I put in red, most of what you hear is not true when it comes to multiples. So don't take multiples serious, because it depends on the terms of the deal. That's all, that's the only thing. And then for the second time, I say be prepared. Most people aren't. The other thing I want to say about especially sellers is, relates to mergers and associates. Most advisors, I don't care how old they are, or no, I shouldn't say that, say over mid-50s. If you ask them when they want to leave, they're going to say 5 years, or they're going to say less than 10 years. The thing is, 5 years from now, they're going to say 5 years again. And there's a lot of ways that you can make that work, because if you develop a relationship now, then the opportunity is down the road to make it work. Okay, so I've got here associates: hire your buyer, hire your seller. And I don't mean that literally, but I think you know what I mean. If you start working with somebody on an associate relationship, and it's a good way to make sure that you can work together, it can be, if you have say a less than 10-year time horizon, they can be your buyer. But also, if you have a longer time horizon than the person you're partnering with, you could be hiring your seller. And that can be taken another way as well, in that maybe you monetize their business or a part of their business so that you're locking in the balance to be able to buy the balance down the road. In Canada, there's very few partnerships, true partnerships. There's very few mergers. In the States, almost everybody works in a multi-advisor, multi-owner shop or business. There's huge opportunities for economies of scale, synergy, to expand geographically, to make your business a better business. Look at it this way. If you're doing $500,000 in revenue and the guy down the street's doing $500,000 in revenue, and you both have about $200,000 in overhead, you combine those two businesses, and for sure you're going to knock at least $100,000 off of your overhead. And so now you just increase your bottom line $100,000, and you just made the business more valuable. As far as finding opportunities, I, I would say you go to all the dealer meetings, association meetings, MGA meetings, and you start prospecting and you build a database, and you've no different than prospecting with clients. Okay, Queenston, a few months ago, November, December, we started an associates page. So it's relatively new. But right now we have over 20 businesses for sale and over 50 people interested in merging, and over 200 people that would consider being an associate or working as an associate. And that goes both ways, both senior advisors looking for a junior and junior advisors looking for to partner with a senior. So it's simple. It's free. You just go to the website and it'll tell you how to sign up. And then you check through and you find people you think might be a good candidate, and then we'll try and introduce you to them. It's all done anonymously, by the way. So if you say, I want to meet number 123, we send 123 your basic information, not your name or anything that can identify you. And then they let us know if they want to meet you or not. Okay, we're going to be doing at least 3 more of these down the road, March 25th. We're going to be talking about organic growth and how to prospect using LinkedIn. And then we're going to talk about, in April, how to increase your revenue and work less. And then on April 22nd, generally speaking, I'm going to talk about how to build a better business model, which will in turn make your business worth more. And, whether you want to sell or even buy, it's always good to have, the more your business is worth, the easier it is. So I don't know, we didn't have too many questions today. So we buzzed through this pretty good. We're right on time, 20 minutes, like I said. Does anybody have any questions now? Just type them in and I'll answer them. In the meantime, check out our website. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can email me at the address right there. And again, we will be recording this, and we had quite a few more people sign up than show up, which is fine and understandable. So we'll be sending everybody a link to the presentation. Okay, we got one question here. What items make the value of your business worth more when selling? And that's a great question. And I can tell you there's the 2 most important things are something you don't have a whole lot of control of, and that is what the market is doing. And the other one is the demographics of your clients. It's very important when you're buying a business to know where the demographics are and make sure they fit. That's the biggest mistake people make. All your clients are 40 and you buy a book and the new clients are all 75. It's the most important thing. Now, having said that, your business model is probably the one thing that makes it worth the most outside of those 2 things, and having processes in place for both sales and service. I'm astounded how many advisors I talk to who have nobody in their prospects in their CRM. You should always be prospecting, building up your prospect list, and not just relying on referrals. Another question. If I reach out to someone through the Associates program, how do I know if they're willing to talk to me or not? Well, they will tell us that they're not willing to talk to you, and then we will let you know. Do you find that the sellers you have are looking for advisors to join their dealer? Okay, I should have mentioned this earlier. It was in my notes to mention it. It's a seller's market. Sellers, for whatever reason, unless they're at a really small dealer, are usually not willing to move. So if you're a buyer and you're flexible and you're willing to move, that's going to really help your situation. The other thing is about that is if you have, just to use some examples, if you have 25 million under management, let's say 100 households, and you're trying to buy a book with 50 million under management, 300 households, it's a lot easier for you to move to them. And it also, it's foot in door because, like I said, most sellers don't want to change dealers, especially if they've been there for a long time and they have, you know, an affinity for that dealer. Um, and the other thing is that I always tell sellers and buyers, if you're buying an investment book, MFDA or IROC, everybody has to be repapered anyways. So it shouldn't be that big a deal, but I can tell you right now it is. Most people are, most sellers don't want to move. Is it? Yeah. Okay. Oh, is it, there's got a one up there.
Oh, I think that's just the one.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're good.
Okay. Thank you very, very much. And like I said, fire us off an email. If you want to talk, let me know. And oh, one more quick question. How can I help if someone wants to start the brokerage from scratch? You know, that's a really tough situation for anybody new. And what all I could say is there's not a lot we can do except maybe match you up as a junior associate with somebody that is looking for an associate. And at least, you know, if they give you their D clients to work, it gives you some people to see while you try and bring in your own clients as well. There's some good opportunities out there for people who are willing to hustle because of the fact that a larger business, usually they've been around for 20 plus years, or they've acquired a few other businesses, are going to have lots of C&D clients. And I can tell you this, there's it's like looking for a needle in a haystack, but that needle is made of solid gold. So there is some good opportunities there. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks. Oh, one more. If you've got lots of experience but don't have a book of your own, what avenue would you recommend? Obviously, you're going to try, and it depends what your natural market is. If you're already hanging out with guys who make lots of money, that would suit one type of a business model to start with, et cetera, et cetera. So it's going to be a personal thing. And if you've had some successes, maybe, if you can put together, 200,000-300,000 in cash, and then talk to potential sellers, that can get you off and moving. Yeah, because nobody's going to merge with you if you have no clients. So it's a tough situation. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. Any way you shape it, starting in this business is really hard, but as you probably know, once you've had some successes, you've been around a while, there's not too many businesses that are better, and certainly not too many that have the same recurring revenue that our industry has. Uh, I can tell you, I got to ask, can you connect with the person who just asked the question? The person who asked the question, it came up as anonymous, so I can't even tell you who anonymous is. But fire me off an email, and maybe I can connect you with that person. Though I doubt it, or somebody similar. Let me know what you're looking for. Thank you.